My name is Lacey Toll, and I'm the Scholarship Program Administrator here at OSAC, and we administer over 500 privately funded scholarships. Some of the things that we're going to talk about today, a little bit of basic financial aid terms, things that you will hear over the course of returning to college, or maybe you haven't even begun your journey into post-secondary education. So we're going to talk about some of those terms. We're going to discuss OSAC grants and what we have to offer here at OSAC. And then we're going to talk about our scholarship program. We have over 500 privately funded scholarships and one online application to complete those. And then I'm going to give you a few tips for success towards the end, and we will also then talk about some additional resources that OSAC has to offer. And again, like Lily said, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to raise your hand or type the question in the questions box so that we can get those questions answered. So one of the biggest things that you will hear about when you're planning your journey into college or returning to college is the FAFSA. And the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. You'll often see the acronym FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A. So just remember that. One of the things that the FAFSA determines is a number called the expected family contribution. Now this number is also referred to as your EFC, and this is what your family is expected to contribute to your college education. So when you complete a FAFSA, you provide the federal government with some income information, and they actually use your tax information from 2 years ago. You provide this information, number of people in your household, assets, and things like that, and the FAFSA then calculates an expected family contribution. This number will be something that you hear referred to a lot throughout your process of getting into college and your awarding from your financial aid offices and things like that. The FAFSA is also the application for federal and state financial aid, and it's also required for many private scholarships. The FAFSA opens October 1st for the following year. So right now, the FAFSA is opened October 1st for students that want to enroll fall 2018 for the 2018-19 college year. The FAFSA is still open for the current 17-18 school year as well. So just know, depending on when you decide you want to start college or enroll, determines the year of FAFSA that you want to file. So if you're thinking about returning winter term, you would need to file a 2017-18 FAFSA. If you are planning on beginning next fall, you would file the 18-19 FAFSA. Again, you complete the FAFSA at the FAFSA.gov website, and make sure it's .gov. You should never pay for any websites to help you complete the FAFSA. Oregon also offers the ORSA, which is the Oregon Student Aid Application, and this is the state's alternative to the FAFSA. So the ORSA is for DACA or other undocumented students who are not eligible for federal aid, and it's for Oregon residents only. The ORSA also opens in October, and please note that you either file the FAFSA or the ORSA. You don't typically file both. So if you're eligible to file the FAFSA, then you don't need to file the ORSA. Again, the ORSA, the link to the ORSA can be found on our website at oregonstudentaid.gov. So some other financial aid terms that you're going to hear quite often are things like grants, scholarships, and potentially work study. These three financial aid terms do not require any repayment. So if you are awarded a grant, whether it's the federal Pell Grant or some of the other OSAC grants we're going to talk about, these do not have to be repaid. The same with scholarships as well as work study. As you can see, scholarships oftentimes can either be need-based or merit-based, so sometimes you don't have to show financial need to receive a scholarship. And then work study is a federal program that's awarded to students, allowing them to work on campus for 10 to 20 hours a week and it's money that goes towards their education. The other type of financial aid terms you're going to hear are things like student loans. And there really are two types of student loans. There's federal loans, who are serviced through the college financial aid office, and you qualify for these loans through your FAFSA. One of the things to remember is that these public federal loans will have better interest rates and usually a grace period while you're in school and various repayment options. If you decide you want to take a private loan, those are usually serviced through a bank or credit union, and they have higher interest rates, and they're a separate loan application. One thing to remember, if you are a returning student who has previous student loans from maybe a prior year in college and you're deciding to return to college, you can apply for loan deferment for those loans. So you would talk to the servicer of your loan and you would let them know that you are enrolling back in school, and you can put your student loan payments on deferment until you've completed school. If you need more information about that, don't hesitate to contact OSAC, as we can provide you the website and things like that for how to apply for deferment for student loans. So now that we've kind of gone through this overview of some terms you'll hear, we are going to talk about some grants that OSAC has to offer. The first grant that we're going to talk about today is the Oregon Opportunity Grant. And the Oregon Opportunity Grant is the state's largest need-based grant. And in order to apply for the Oregon Opportunity Grant, you file a FAFSA or an ORSA, and you list an Oregon college. Again, the FAFSA and the ORSA opens in October, so you can go ahead and complete that application now. You must attend an eligible Oregon college or university. So if you are attending school in Oregon, you should apply for the Oregon Opportunity Grant using your FAFSA. DACA and other undocumented students are also eligible to apply for the Oregon Opportunity Grant through the ORSA. The maximum award amount for the Oregon Opportunity Grant is $2,250, and this grant is prioritized based on a student's EFC. That's the expected family contribution number that comes from the student's FAFSA or ORSA. This year, for 2017-18, we awarded students from a 0 EFC clear up to $3,000 EFC. So if you fell within that range, you would receive the Oregon Opportunity Grant. Again, we notify you via email if you appear to be eligible for the Oregon Opportunity Grant, and we prorate the awards for students who are enrolled half-time. So you must enroll at least half-time, and you will receive half of $2,250 for the year. We send the money out in the fall, winter, and spring terms. We do not disperse the Oregon Opportunity Grant in the summer, so you are eligible for fall, winter, and spring. Now, if you decided to return to school for this year in winter term and you filed your FAFSA for 17-18, unfortunately, you would not be eligible for the Oregon Opportunity Grant for 2017-18. However, when you file your FAFSA for 2018-19, you may be eligible for it next year. So the way the Oregon Opportunity Grant works is that you have to enroll fall term of the school year to receive that money. If you decided to start school this winter and you did a 17-18 FAFSA, you may likely still be eligible for the federal Pell Grant through the federal government. But unfortunately, the way the Oregon Opportunity Grant works, you would have to enroll in fall. All right, we're going to briefly talk about the Oregon Promise Grant. This is a state grant that covers some or all tuition at an Oregon community college. It is for recent high school graduates and GED recipients. And the reason I want to talk about this is there are a lot of returning students who are just now receiving their GED. And if you are enrolling within 6 months of receiving your GED at an Oregon community college, then you would be eligible to receive Oregon Promise. So the requirements for Oregon Promise is that you have to be an Oregon resident at least 12 months prior to enrollment. You have to enroll at an Oregon community college within 6 months of graduation, or in this case, receiving your GED. So, and when I say enroll in an Oregon community college, that means you have to register and begin taking classes within 6 months of receiving your GED. And in this case, it's the date that you took the last test of your GED and passed your test and received your GED. This is the visual representation that talks about the deadlines for Oregon Promise. Because the Oregon Promise has the 6-month requirement, depending on when you get your GED or complete your GED, will determine when you have to start college. So if you look over here, if you received your GED from July 1st through November 30th, you need to start college by winter term, and you have to complete your FAFSA or your ORSA and the Oregon Promise application by November 1st. If you receive your GED from October 1st to February 29th, then you need to complete the Oregon Promise application and file your FAFSA by February 1st, and you start college by spring term. If you graduate or receive your GED between October 1st and November 30th, you can apply to start in either winter or spring term. Again, these deadlines are at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and if the deadline falls on a weekend or a holiday, it will roll forward to the next business day. This information is also available on our website. So on the OregonStudentAid.gov website, if you go to grants and you go to Oregon Promise, down here at the bottom is a link for the appropriate deadline. And what this is going to tell us is we're basically going to put in our GED completion date, and it's going to let us know our deadlines for the Oregon Promise. So if I receive my GED this month, say on the 15th, 2017, then I would need to enroll in spring to attend college by spring of 2018, and in order to do that, I would need to complete the Oregon Promise application by February 1st and file my FAFSA by February 1st. And in this case, I would be filing my 17-18 FAFSA. So again, this just shows you that if you put in the date you'll be receiving your GED, you will then see what terms you would be, or what quarter you would be eligible to apply for Oregon Promise.
You can also find it right there on the grants on the sidebar, eligibility checker, where you just had it right there.
Oh.
You click Oregon Promise Grant on the right hand side.
Eligibility checker.
Perfect.
Hey, good. There we go. Thanks, Lily. All right. So in order to apply for Oregon Promise, you need to complete the Oregon Promise grant application and file your FAFSA or ORSA, and you need to list an Oregon Community College. That is the most important thing with Oregon Promise, is that you list a community college on your FAFSA, other than doing the Oregon Promise application. Now, the Oregon Promise application is a 5-section application located in the student portal on our website at OregonStudentAid.gov. It is really quick, fast, and easy to complete. All right. So another grant that we have available for students is the Student Child Care Grant. And this grant is to assist parents that are enrolled in post-secondary education with their child care or dependent care. The application for the Student Child Care Grant opens in January. The deadline is May 31st. Again, this is available on our website. We have one student portal where you can complete the application for Oregon Promise, scholarships, and the Student Child Care Grant. The awarding for the Child Care Grant usually happens in June or July. Students do have to submit proof of child care expenses for this application, so please note that that'll be one of the requirements. And our last grant that we have available is the Deceased and Disabled Public Safety Officer Grant. So this is for dependents of deceased or disabled public safety officers who were killed or disabled in the line of duty. And the application for this grant is a fillable PDF document that is available on our website as well. So if you or anyone you know meets these criteria, then they can complete this PDF document and submit it back to OSAC. All right, moving on to the scholarship program. So we have over 500 private scholarship opportunities that are made possible by two big partnerships here in the state. We partner with the Oregon Community Foundation as well as the Ford Family Foundation to offer these scholarships. Last year we awarded over $17 million to 3,700 students. The average award is about $4,500. Um, Over half of our OSAC scholarships are available to students who are not citizens of the U.S., so that is also something to think about. And our award amounts range from $500 clear up to over $10,000. We have privately funded scholarships that are designated for students with specific needs, part-time and returning older students, military veterans, foster youth, homeschooled, and GED students. So just some things to think about. The deadlines for the OSAC scholarship application, our first deadline is February 15th at 5 p.m. This is our early bird deadline, so if you complete your application by February 15th at 5 and you provide us with an error-free transcript, we will enter you in to win a drawing to win an additional $1,000 scholarship. Our final deadline is March 1st at 1 p.m. and that application and all required documents must be submitted to us by 5 p.m. Unfortunately, we do not get paid overtime, so we have to have our deadline at 5 p.m. And all documents that must be submitted will be your transcripts, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So our first partner is the Ford Family Foundation, and I wanted to talk about their scholarship programs. The two, Ford Opportunity and Ford Restart, are specifically for adult students. Ford Restart, which is the one here at the bottom, is for adults who are 25 years or older, beginning or returning to post-secondary education. This is for students who are getting their associate's or bachelor's degree at an eligible Oregon college, and you have to be at least less than halfway through the completion of your degree program. So with the Ford Family Foundation and Ford Restart, you have to be able to enroll full-time on campus, so they do not support online education. And you have to be less than halfway. So if you are getting an associate's degree and you have more than a year's worth of credits, unfortunately, you would not be eligible. But if you're getting a bachelor's degree and you've only completed 1 year of college, then you would be eligible. The Ford Opportunity Program is for single parents who are head of their household with custody of their dependents. For this one, you have to have at least 1 year remaining to complete your degree, and your degree must be an associate's or bachelor's at an eligible Oregon college. Now, I will tell you that Ford Opportunity and Ford Restart are the lesser competitive scholarships because Ford struggles to find qualified applicants for these programs. So Ford is really looking for students who have leadership potential, who are motivated and take initiative and really have great work ethic and are rooted in their community. So if you know someone who would meet these criteria, feel free to have them apply through our scholarship application. I also put up here that the Ford Scholars Program is available for students that are transferring juniors from a community college. So if you've received the first 2 years at community college and you decide you're going to transfer to pursue a bachelor's degree at an Oregon college, you will be eligible to apply for Ford Scholars. So that's just something to think about as well. However, if you meet the criteria for the Ford Restart, I would strongly suggest applying for that scholarship. Again, the Ford Family Foundation information is on the bottom of this slide. If you have any questions regarding their programs or which one might be a better fit for you, feel free to give them a call. They really like to answer those questions. Some other scholarships that we have that are directed towards what we call non-traditional students here at OSAC. We have the Burkle Scholarship, which is for Harney, Lake, or Malheur County residents that are returning to school after a long absence and that are planning on enrolling in public and nonprofit colleges. We also offer William D. and Ruth D. Roy, which is for engineering majors that graduated from an Oregon high school that have a 2.75 plus GPA. Better a Life is for single parents that are 17 to 25. You cannot have an existing bachelor's degree and you must attend Oregon public and nonprofit colleges. Franz and Catherine Stenzel started their second scholarship for non-traditional first-generation students or students that are approaching their final year that are not majoring in medicine. So again, that's an example of just 4 scholarships that are geared towards the non-traditional student. We also have a variety of other scholarships that are for any type of student that are not just looking for high school seniors. So just know that these are the ones that are looking specifically for those adult returning students. But we have scholarships like Fred Fields, which is for community college students. The Oregon Scholarship Fund offers scholarships for students attending community college, and they also offer scholarships for students that are getting ready to transfer. So just know that even though I only showed you 4, there's a variety of scholarships available in our catalog for all students. Now that I've showed you a few scholarships that we offer that are specific to non-traditional students, I wanted to take you over to our scholarship catalog and show you where you can look for additional scholarships that may meet your criteria. So from our homepage, if you click on under Apply for Scholarships, there's the application, which will take you to the application, and then there's a catalog link. And in the catalog, if you click the catalog link, you will be taken to a page. As you can see, we have 11 pages of scholarships. Now, one of the things to look for when you're applying for scholarships is this first line here where it says graduating high school seniors. Now, if you are a returning adult student, you likely would not be eligible as a graduating high school senior because you graduated high school. Some of the keywords that you could search would be non-traditional, because that is a term that we use in our catalog. And as you can see, some of the scholarships that I shared in my presentation show up. Burkle, Stenzel 2, and Ruth D. Roy. So these are for what we call non-traditional students or adult returning students. You can search things like graduates, and these are scholarships that are for students who have graduated from high school but that aren't necessarily graduating high school seniors. So for example, Alice and Mason White is for graduates of Oregon high schools. And if you're enrolling as a college junior in the fall term, again, you may be returning to college and at a junior status, you may not be. Anna and Dwight Gunther is for Harney County residents or folks who have graduated from a Harney County high school. So again, it doesn't mean you have to be 18. You can be an adult returning student to apply for a program like this. Same with Anna Jones, Eris Bishop. So these are, this one is looking for specific students at a specific high school, but again, there's no time frame on when you graduated from that high school. Another thing that you could search is an age, and sometimes I've searched 25 plus because we have a number of scholarships that are for students who are 25 plus. Um, as you can see, it also pulls up some GPAs that are 25 plus. But here's one for students that are enrolling as a college senior. Oh, so I didn't search that right. Hang on. Oh, age. Excuse me. Let me search age here. So as you can see, we have Olbrich. You have to be 31 years of age or older as of the March scholarship deadline. You have to live in Clackamas County, and this scholarship is asked that you previously attended college. Again, here's Better a Life. Brad and Lisa Bailey is a member program. Camilla Frazier, you have to be 26 or older and a first generation college student. So that means that neither of your parents graduated from college. And this is specifically for students going into nursing. Again, this just shows you the variety of ways that you could search our catalog and look for scholarships that may fit. This is a keyword search here at the top, so you can type in any keyword, and if it's in any of these requirements for these scholarships, then it will pull them up. Uh, Again, we recommend completing the first 9 sections of the application and getting a list of scholarships that may be recommended for you. That way you could look through those and it's a much smaller list. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our scholarship application requirements. The application has a student profile section, which is the first 9 sections. We ask for 4 personal statements, an activities chart, transcripts, specific documents, and essays for specific scholarships that you may have applied for. And then we ask that you file your FAFSA or your ORSA. Now, it is not required for our scholarship application, but you're likely going to complete it anyway for the other grants that OSAC offers, so we just kind of throw it in here that we recommend you file your FAFSA or your ORSA. Now, what I tell students is, and anyone interested in seeing what they potentially qualify for, is to complete the first 9 sections of our scholarship application, which is the student profile. This probably takes about 45 minutes, and then you will get a good list of the scholarships that we recommend that you apply for. And of the over 500, you can apply for up to 40. However, most folks aren't eligible for 40, but we would like to have the ability for you to apply for 40 if you are eligible. Students who are going into nursing fields often are eligible for the most scholarships right now. If you complete those first 9 sections and you decide the scholarships you see aren't something that you think are a good fit or that you wouldn't qualify for, feel free to, you know, you don't have to complete the application. Again, we understand that we may not have a scholarship that fits your criteria or meets your needs. If that is the case, however, just let us know that you didn't find anything you'd be eligible for so we can work with our partners and our donors to fill those gaps. So just remember that as you're completing our application. Um, so to do the scholarship application, you log on to OregonStudentAid.gov, the student portal button, you click the green student portal button. Here you create an account, you apply for scholarships, you also apply for Oregon Promise and the Child Care grant as well when it is open. This is also the same place you would complete Oregon Promise. And then you would accept or just decline any scholarships you may receive, and you would also update any personal contact information, your college choice, and your college major. So again, everything for OSAC is done through our student portal. So the 4 personal statements. So we asked for 4 personal statements in the scholarship application. These are 1,000 characters each, which is about 150 words, which is a half a page. of half a one-typed page. Again, these statements are designed to supplement your application, providing the selection committees a more of a complete picture of you than they can determine just based on your transcripts and GPA. So what you'll find is that these personal statements are very similar to things that you're going to find on a lot of other scholarship applications. So, and also if you planned on going to LCC, the LCC Lane Community College Foundation uses these exact same statements for their scholarship application. So once you write these personal statements, you can, you know, edit them and revise them to meet the needs of a lot of other applications. So the first one, what are your specific educational plans and career goals and why, and what inspires you to achieve them? This is really important, and you should be as clear as you can in this question. If you know exactly what you want to be, that's great. If you don't really know what you want to be, but you have a good idea, you should just be able to articulate your plans and your goals. That is really important to the selection committees. What have you done for your family or community that you care about the most and why? Describe a personal accomplishment and the strengths and skills you use to achieve it. And then describe a significant change or experience that has occurred in your life. How did you respond and what did you learn about yourself? Again, 150 words, half page um, personal statements that you could then use for other scholarship applications. Now we move on to the activities chart. Here we ask that you provide up to 20 activities, the dates, the hours, which is the time spent, and kind of the responsibility or accomplishments of these activities. Now we ask for 3 different types of activities: school and community-based activities, volunteer activities, and paid work history. While we understand that if you are, you know, a working adult or an adult who is returning to college, you may not have any school-based activities, and that is okay. Some examples of activities that you may have that we strongly encourage you put into your activities chart would be any paid work history. If you were a stay-at-home parent, that is a very important thing to list in your activities chart because that is a lot of work and you should be recognized for that. Volunteering at your church or any other food drives, maybe you volunteered at a 5K or 10K run, anything like that, volunteering at an animal shelter. If you provide childcare for free or for pay for any of your friends or anything family members, that's something you want to list as well. If you volunteer at your child's school, or you volunteer to coach a sports team for your child or another member of your family or even member of the community, that would be important to list as well. The limit is 20 activities. However, if you don't have 20 activities or even close, that's fine. We just like to see, you know, somewhat balanced activities. It's just important that you list some there. If you don't have any, that's fine as well, but we do, the selection committees do like to see some community involvement. So transcripts. We ask that you provide your transcripts for a scholarship application. Now this is where it kind of gets tricky. So missing or incomplete transcripts is the only reason that we reject your scholarship application. And there's 3 kind of groups that adult returning students or adult students often fall into when completing the scholarship application. So if you have never attended college and you have no college history at all, then you will need to provide us with a complete high school transcript. Now I understand it may have been years since you've completed high school and you may or may not have access to that high school transcript. If you cannot obtain a copy of your high school transcript, then contact us here at OSAC and we will work with you to provide either a written letter or some other form of communication talking to us, telling us about why you can't obtain your high school transcript. So if you, for whatever reason, can't find your high school transcript, we will help you make sure it's not a barrier to you completing the application. If you've completed college within the past 10 years, or attended college, I shouldn't say completed. If you've attended college within the past 10 years, um, then you need to provide the college transcripts for each college you have attended. Now, if you are currently attending college and maybe you attended fall term, you would need to provide the college transcripts that include your fall quarter or semester grades on them. Again, when you complete the application and you list out your college history, the scholarship application will tell you which transcripts are optional and which transcripts are required. So if you have attended college within the past 10 years, you will need to provide those transcripts. If the last time you attended college is longer than 10 years ago, then you have the option of providing your high school transcript or your college transcripts. And again, the application will give you the instructions here, but you can provide a complete high school transcript or your college transcripts, whichever you feel like paints the better picture of who you are as a student. Um, so again, we have full instructions on our website, as well as once you start completing the application, this transcript instructions will be tailored to you and kind of what transcripts you're required to provide. All right, so now that you've completed the scholarship application, we're going to talk a little bit about some tips for success that we give students when searching and applying for scholarships, as well as other things that may help through this journey. So the first thing we say is to get organized. It really is create a scholarship email, or even you can create an email for this whole, the whole process of applying and getting into college, one that your FAFSA information can go to, any correspondence to and from whatever college you're applying to, and just an email address that you're going to check regularly. Maybe you already have one. I often tell students make sure it looks professional, Lacey.toll@gmail, not hotstuff99@gmail, so that it doesn't look bad when you're applying for scholarships. Again, track the scholarships you've applied for and know kind of the time frame to apply. So once you find scholarships on the website, make sure you keep track of when the application opens, when the deadline is. Make sure you're getting information with plenty of time to complete the application if you have to request the application. Again, check deadlines and make sure if those deadlines are postmarked or received by date. So for our deadline, we have to receive the information by 5 p.m. Pacific time on the 1st. It's not the postmark date. So just remember that when you're looking at deadlines. And I would also verify the deadlines with the actual source of the scholarship. I know some websites have our deadline listed as varies or various, and students often get confused. We have one deadline. It's March 1st. So our website is the best information for that. We suggest that you search for scholarships in multiple locations. The first and foremost is the college you plan on attending. Oftentimes they have institutional scholarships, and then there are scholarships at each department. So if you know what you would like to major in, go to that department directly and really talk to them about any scholarships that they may offer. Also the college foundations. So I know the University of Oregon has its own foundation. Lane Community College has a foundation. These foundations often provide scholarships for students attending those colleges. So that's a good place to look as well. And then you can do a local search. Any local employers such as banks. Banks are often a good source of scholarships. Any local foundations. I know Benton County has a foundation that has scholarships for students. And then other service organizations like Seroptimus, Kiwanis, and Rotary are often good sources of scholarships as well. And then there's the web or the national searches like FastWeb and College Board. Those are some good websites to really look for scholarships as well. You could try going down to your local work source or employment department. They may have some additional search websites as well. One of the things that we tell students is not to pay for search tools, to use the free ones. So if a website tells you, hey, for $100, I'll find you $10,000 worth of scholarships, it's typically a scam. So you want to kind of stay away from things like that. Again, some of the websites that we talk about are College Board, the Federal Student Aid website, FastWeb. And while FastWeb looks a little cheesy and their information can be outdated a little bit, it's really a good kind of one-stop shop. The University of Arizona also is piloting a program called Scholarship Universe. That's not a bad place to look as well. And then Oregon CIS, if you have access to CIS or if you're down at the employment department, you can log on to their Oregon CIS and search for scholarships there as well. Next thing to think about when you're applying for scholarships is to be comfortable promoting yourself. And so you can think about these questions maybe prior to writing your personal statements or completing your scholarship applications. But some things to think about is how are you unique? What are your leadership qualities? How do you take initiative? What recognitions have you received? What are your passions? I mean, this is, some other things to think about is, how will a degree impact your future or your community? Who has inspired you? Why have you decided to now take the leap into college? And things like that. And especially as an adult returning to college, you may be able to answer these questions a lot better than some of our younger applicants. When writing your personal statements or any other essays for any other applications, we ask that you carefully proofread and get feedback on these essays. Again, have someone else proofread it, whether it's, friends, family, job, if you have any professors, if you're currently in college, things like that. Read it slowly out loud. That really helps know that if it sounds good. Read it backwards, sentence by sentence. Take a break, step away for a day or two, and then come back to the essay. You might find that it, needs some work or tweaking, or it may sound perfect. All right, so those are just some tips for success for applying for scholarships. Again, some additional resources and support that OSAC has to offer. Um, there are federal education tax credits. We are not tax professionals, but I can tell you that they may be available on your federal tax return, the American Opportunity Tax Credit and the Lifetime Learning Credit. Also, any student loan interest you pay on your if you have current student loans, should be deductible as well. You can visit the irs.gov for more information there. We also have a plethora of resources on OregonStudentAid.gov/outreach. One of those is our YouTube channel videos. Again, like Lily said, we'll be recording this presentation and posting it. We, as of right now, don't have any other online webinars, but as we add more, they will be listed there. And then we do have Facebook and Twitter, so feel free to follow our Facebook and Twitter pages as well. Some of the YouTube channels that we have available, we have a step-by-step of the scholarship application. So if you want to take a look at that application prior to completing it, you can do that there. We also have any other webinar that we have hosted, recorded, and posted on YouTube as well. All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of our webinar. You guys were very quiet throughout this, so does anybody have any questions?